we're back and ready to do it all over again. It's exam season and my first exam is exactly 1 month today, so fuck. And I'll be honest with you, I've done no work yet. It is currently the Easter holidays, and by the way, if you don't know, I do an English literature degree at Durham University, and I'm part of the Durham English Lit group chat, which is something I regret ever joining, because recently that group chat has been popping off in the worst possible way. At the moment, it is absolutely full of people saying,
how are we all revising for this module? Like, which books have you chosen for this module?
Like, bold of you to assume that I've started revising. But today, everything changes. Today is the day that I get crack-a-lackin' with my revision. I regret that word ever coming out of my mouth. This is now 6 years, I think, in a row that I've done exams and revision for them. So, I'd like to think of myself as a bit of a seasoned pro. I mean, I'm not, but what I thought I'd do today is show you how I get started with a revision, like what I do on my very first day of intense, proper revision, how I set up revising, I suppose, to hopefully give you some kind of motivation or a bit of a kick up the backside to get started with your revision too. So, I'm going to stop rambling and get on with it. Okay, so I know that I said I was going to start. I will not lie to you, it has been half an hour. I have eaten a whole pack of mini eggs in that time, but I feel like I'm ready now. So the first task that I want to complete today is I basically want to make a calendar with the next few months included in it, so I basically can see my exam season and how it looks. This year I have 5 exams. They're pretty much quite spread out actually. I think I've got 2 right next to each other right at the beginning, which are going to be hell on earth. But after those, my exams are quite spread out, and so I wanted to be able to kind of visualize my exam season, see how far apart my exams are and which ones I should prioritize at what points. But it's also just a good reminder to have. I usually put this calendar like up on my wall or something, so I can actually visualize, you know, how many days I've got until each exam, and just as a constant reminder that I do actually have them. So I'm going to try and find a calendar and I will check in with you soon. The clouds have actually gone over already. Like, it was a nice day, and as soon as I started revising it just got 10 times worse. Don't have to be an English student to know that that is pathetic fallacy. So I found this printable calendar on printcalendar.com. Excuse the number of tabs I have open. This is kind of a good representation of what my brain looks like at the moment. But yeah, so there's this one, or there's also this one that has room for notes on the side if that suits you better, but I'm gonna go with this one here and basically download that and delete all of the months that I don't need. I've just converted that PDF to a Word document because apparently when I moved to university, my parents moved to the Stone Age and got rid of our printer. So I need to edit it online, and then I'm gonna go to somewhere where I can print it later on. Okay, so I have my exam dates here from the Durham website and my calendar here, so I'm going to basically pop those into my calendar in red. I'm doing this for the second time because the first time I put them in the wrong month, so that was really good. Let's try again. Okay, so that is all done, and it's looking very much like Wednesdays are going to be the worst day of my whole life for the foreseeable future. My next task is to go through my reading lists for the year and decide which books I'm going to be writing about in each of my modules exams. With university exams, you have a lot more kind of freedom and choice in terms of what you actually revise and write about in the exam. So I'm basically going to check how many I need for each one, and then go through my reading lists from the year and pick the ones that I liked the most and the ones that I've done the most research on, and make a list of them. This is a document that I made right at the beginning of the year with all of the books that I needed to study for each module, and I highlighted them in green when I had read them and done adequate research. So this kind of is helping me to pick which ones I should do. As you can see, I preferred some modules to others, so I'm going to fine-tune this. Okay, so I now have all of the books that I'm going to read for each of my modules. Just out of interest, my modules are modernism, Victorian literature, theory and criticism, American poetry, Shakespeare, and I also do a module in Germanic myth and legend, but that was just essay based, and I am writing my second essay at the moment, or supposed to be, and so that's why they're not on this list, because that will all be done by the time I do these exams. And the point of making that list is basically to make it seem a lot less intimidating when I come to revising. So basically it's all about focus. So now that I've done that, I've got myself a reward because I have to treat myself like an actual toddler and reward myself with food. So after I've had that, I am going to after I've done that, I'm going to look through all of the module explanation documents because they basically say what you should get out of studying each module, and so I'm going to bullet point those things and make sure I revise all of those because they're likely to come up in the exams. So basically looking at the specifications that are given to me to work out what I need to revise. So basically on the university website we have a handbook for each module which just goes through like all of the things that we're supposed to get out of the module. And so I basically transferred that into a bullet pointed list of all the things I should be kind of revising as a starting point. So taken from the handbook, which is written by the people who will be assessing the exam, I've broken Victorian literature down into religious dilemmas, political progress, scientific progress, social consequences, polemics of industrialization and urbanization, parallels with the visual arts, and then I've put in brackets pre-Raphaelites because that's what I'll be studying in that context, adaptations, and then I've put North and South because that's what I'll be studying in that context, and then I've got historical context, aesthetic context, and intellectual context. So those are the things that I'll be researching, and basically I'll go through and try to tick all of these things off once I've done enough research for each of those, and then I've got that same thing for each module. I am exhausted just thinking about it. But the point of all of this is to work not just hard, but also smart. So there's actually like a point to the revision that I'm doing, and I'm kind of ticking things off as I go. And hopefully it pays off. Okay, so more time has passed, and what I've been doing, aside from eating those bloody lovely mini egg cornflake cakes, is basically going through that calendar that I made earlier and picking days I'm going to dedicate to revision, because it's still the Easter break at the moment and I do want to actually have some time off. So I've basically put in 3 days a week that I'm going to revise solidly. For 2 of those days a week, I think I'm going to go to the University of Sussex, because that's my closest university. I obviously go to Durham, but that is 350 miles away and not happening. But apparently with your university campus card you can go and use any university library, so that's what I'm planning to do. And then I've also put in 1 extra day of revision per week that is kind of like a, you know, if I'm feeling up to it, spoiler alert, I probably won't be, or like if I miss one of the other days, then that's the day that I'll then transfer that revision onto. So I'm taking it pretty chill at the moment because I know when I go back to Durham it will be like intense revision all day every day, and I'm just not ready for that yet. What I'm going to do right now is get started with some of the reading that I've identified that I still very much need to do. So through narrowing down the books that I'm going to write about in the exam, I identified that I've got 2 books left to read and 2 Shakespeare plays. So for now I'm going to get started on Villette by Charlotte Bronte. I actually have read about half of this before I gave up. Shit. But I'm going to just read it from scratch because I've got time. So that's what I'm planning to do now, and I will see you on the flip side. I have finished my reading for now. I've also updated my Goodreads account, if anyone's interested. It's super nerdy, but I've started my own kind of like book club over on my Goodreads, and also on my Instagram. It's called Fully Booked, and I'm just doing kind of recommendations of some good books that I read. What else has happened? Oh, I sneezed really loudly and my mum called from upstairs. Oh, Jack, I forgot you were here. So that was sweet. But now I'm going to finish up my revision for the day with some research of Joseph Conrad's The Secret Agent, because I read that when I was away in Athens last week. I'm going to pop on my Optimal Focus Spotify playlist. I will leave the link down below if you'd like to listen to it. It's basically loads of lo-fi songs with no lyrics, so it literally can't distract you. And it's really, really good for motivation. So I'd really highly recommend this playlist, even though it is my own. Okay, so I think I will leave the vlog there. I hope this has been somewhat motivational, maybe, potentially, possibly, I don't know. This has been the start of my revision for my exams this year. And if you did enjoy this video, please let me know, because there's plenty more where this came from, because I've got plenty more revision to do. To keep up with what I'm up to, check down below for my Instagram and my Twitter. I'll also leave the links to my Goodreads and my Spotify accounts, so go check them out in the crotch box down below if you'd like to have a look. For now, I've been a suffering university student. Thank you very much for watching this video. Big love. Why did I say that? Have a lovely week, and I'll see you very soon. Goodbye!